to my YouTube channel. I am Miss J and I host Living and Leading with J. I am a coach, entrepreneur, and just all around advocate for those who are trying to live a fantastic, above average life. So, thank you for tuning in to this bonus session of the Shine Bright series. It is actually episode number 5. And in this fifth session, I am going to cover 3 topics today. And those topics are going to be vision, habits, and time management. 3 non-tangible but highly essential parts of living and pursuing a happier life. So we're going to talk about these things one at a time. I'm going to give you some practical tips and things that you can do to implement or to work on them. Might be implementing new habits, might be implementing new things. And of course, this whole entire series, I've been basing it out of a book called Shine, 20 Secrets to a Happier Life by The Essentialist. The link to the Amazon book is going to always be either attached to the video below or to video number 1. Also be able to check for it on the Facebook page. I am Miss J. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, these topics, I'm really just going to talk to you out of my personal experience and out of my personal knowledge because I talk about these things on a very frequent basis, partially because they are highly aligned with coaching, with life coaching, and with making sure that people have the ability to do the things that they need to do. So we're going to start with vision, and I'm going to go ahead and bring up my handy dandy helper, visual aid for vision. And it says that your personal vision is the roadmap for your future. You guys have to forgive me. I create these prior to recording and sometimes a lot in advance. And so this little tiny font on the screen is not necessarily something that's helping me. But even though the content that is presented is still highly effective, even though my eyes might not be able to see this tiny typing on the screen. So vision for me is like the foundation of where I start working with all of my clients in the Illumin group. So with my one-on-one clients, we talk about vision because it is basically where you're going. And sometimes, it feels easy to get comfortable where you are. But we are meant to be evolving and growing. And if we don't have a guide map for that or a road map or a plan for that, then we can either become stagnant or we just find ourselves doing a whole lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily make us aligned with the goals that we've set prior in the series. They might not align with the values that we've set prior in the series or identified prior in the series. And we want to make sure that the vision for what we want to become, who we want to become, and how we want to have an impact on the world is aligned with our daily actions, which is why we're going to talk about habits and time management in the same section. So even though it's a quote unquote bonus episode, it is very much a power-packed episode that I hope that you get a lot out of. So when you think about vision, you have to figure out where to start. And there are 3 thought-provoking questions on the screen that will allow you to just start to dive in a little deeper. Now, when people are creating visions, of course, it's not just going to be something easy. It's probably not even a one-time event because we are continuing to evolve. But with a vision, sometimes people start with a 3-year plan. And then that 3-year plan gives them a way to just get started with building the habits, the endurance, the tenacity to make goals happen. But then after 3 years, you hopefully have attained that former vision. And now you want to think about potentially making a 5-year plan. And then after your 5 years, maybe a 10-year plan. When you are making or creating a vision, one of the interesting things that you can do if you start off with a 3-year plan is to break that down Take that 3-year plan and break it down into year 1, 2, and then 3, so that you can identify and accomplish the building blocks that helps you get to it. Now, vision is just that. It's your imagination. It's you running completely free of restrictions. We don't want to have to, when we're creating our visions, we don't worry about time. We don't worry about money. We don't worry about physical constraints. We want to live our most free, happy life and our vision for our future. Because if you think about where you are now and where you're going to be in 3, 5, or 10 years, hopefully you're not trying to be the same person. You're not trying to potentially even be in the same space or mindset. So we don't want to limit our vision based on current circumstances, because the goal is to move those circumstances, to change those circumstances, so that your 3, 5, or 10-year vision is something that is attainable. And then once you start hitting those mile marks, once you hit a 3-year vision and you find yourself leaps and bounds above where you were when you started your planning, which might be right now, then your 5-year vision might be even bolder. It might be even more ambitious. It might be even more broad, because now you understand the power that you possess in creating change in your life. So if you don't know where to start, you're like, I haven't really thought about what I want to do. I got a good job. I have a place to stay. I have family. I have love. I don't really know what else I want to do or what else I should be doing. Here are some questions that'll get you started. And there are many more questions listed in that book. So if you want to take a deeper dive, feel free to go purchase the book or to contact me so that we can start this journey together. And I'll be your accountability partner, and I'll push you and stretch you in ways that you might not at first be comfortable with. But once we start hitting those milestones, you'll be very glad that you were partnered with someone who could see beyond your current. Okay, so the first thought-provoking question to start your vision is, what kind of work will you be doing and how will you feel about this work? Now, currently there are a lot of people that have jobs. They might not be satisfying, fulfilling. It might not even be their dream job. It might just be there in the meantime and in between time job to keep these bills paying and all of these people from ringing my phone asking for their payments. So we want to think about, what is the job? When you were in high school and people say, what do you want to be when you grow up? That's basically where we want to go back to. You might be a little bit more grown now. However, there is still opportunity to create and shape what your life will become. We don't have to just put it in neutral and just cruise on in based on the decisions that we might have made when we were 21, when we finished our degree. Maybe we want to do something differently. So what type of work do you want to be doing? Do you want to be giving back? Do you want to be working 100% corporate? Do you want to be a freelance? Do you want to be in a creative lane? And how do you want to feel about waking up and going or doing these things? Because that's going to be important. I know for me, at one point in time, my job was just about money. And then in the next phase of my life, it was about growth and getting credentials and everything else that I wanted. And then at one point in time, it was about gaining the title. And now my desire is about impact. What can I do to leave a mark on the world, to make it a better place, so that everyone that I come in contact with, whether that be on a full-time job, a contract gig, in an organization that I'm helping or servicing, I want to make sure that when I show up, someone leaves there a little better changed and potentially on a different path to gaining the life that they want. So we want to talk about, what does your work look like? It might be the fact that you don't even want a job. So if you don't want a job, you have to figure out how to sustain those things that you want to have. That may be, in order for me to not work or to work only when I choose to, I might need to minimalize. I might need to do a tiny house or #van life, move into something smaller, shrink my financial needs so that my desire and need for other types of freedom are better served, and therefore my time can be spent elsewhere. So think about what kind of work you're going to be doing. How do you want to feel about the work? And then let's just start there. That will potentially help you identify options either whether it's going to be, like I said, a full-time career, or if it's going to be some freelance contract consulting / gig work that will help you to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to obtain that? You could still make big money not working a quote unquote 9 to 5 as a consultant, especially if you are in growing fields, research fields, IT, technology, AI, those types of things. So, can you get some certifications? Can you get any skill set over these next 3 years that will help you to obtain a job that leads you towards your financial freedom, so that you can start doing what you want to do when you want to do it and potentially how you want to get it done? All right, the second top thought-provoking question that we're going to ask ourselves, it's what does your health look like in 3 years, and how are you getting the outcomes that you want to achieve? So if you feel like you want to be out here for a hot mama summer, a hot grandma summer, a hot papa summer, and that is going to require you to look a certain way. Or if you've been diagnosed with something that's a pre-diabetes, pre-cancer, pre-XYZ, then you know that a lifestyle shift is something that you're going to need to make happen. So you don't want to be on all the medications that are currently lining your medicine cabinet. Maybe you want to be able to run a mile. Maybe you want to be able to play freely with kids or grandkids without feeling of exhaustion. Then that is what you want to think about. What is your health like? And how can you get to that space within your 3 years, right? We're going to start with 3 and then we're going to break it down. So for me, that means that I want to be able to do some things with my kids and my family. I might need to start building some endurance. I would definitely love to hike, but sometimes all of that walking up and down, it ain't necessarily for me. It might be something that we want to choose. So maybe I need to start training so that I can be able to do that more sustainably and freely. Like one of the really things that I do want to do, and I hope to start this summer, is I want to start rowing, whether that is in a canoe or in a raft or a kayak. For some reason, that's just been heavily in my spirit of something that I want to try. So I will, at some point in time this summer, get on the water. I'm thinking hopefully sooner than later, as the sun right now is really beautiful, but the wind and the weather is kind of chilly. So what does that look like, and how are you getting there? Are you working out 3 times a day? Are you on a diet? What are you doing? Not necessarily a diet. We talked about diet in our nutrition conversation, but have you changed your eating pattern and your eating habits in order to sustain your lifestyle choices? And then number 3, who brings joy in your life, and how do you spend your time together? Now, this can be about friends, platonic relationships, or romantic relationships. But of course, at some innate level, we all want to be loved, we all want to love, and we all want to belong. So what does that look like? It might be a spouse. It might just be a life partner. It might just be creating and cultivating a same-sex tribe of folks that you can just travel with, eat with, party with, and that you want to have that close-knit group of friends, but you might not necessarily want to be sharing your time with a significant romantic other. It might be that your grandkids are going to be more important to you. Hopefully you'll have them in that 3-5 year window, and that you want to get closer to them. So that may be like, I need to be moving, to whatever state my family lives in, so that I can be closer and spend more high quality and high volume time with the people that you love. So this is how you get started on your vision. There are other questions within the book. If you send me an email, hello@missj.com, I will send you the list of the thought-provoking questions to start writing your vision. And so that will allow you to start having those thoughts and to write it down. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm also like a junkie for vision boards. And a vision board is basically a representation of the physical representation, a creative representation of the things that you can do. Now, your vision board can be pictures. Your vision board can be words, paragraphs, quotes, images, cutouts, whatever the case may be, that just give you an opportunity to daily look at what your vision is. So if you are envisioning playing with, maybe it's a new baby in 3 years, then even though it might not be an actual reflection of your family, maybe you put out a picture of a family on there, so that every day that you get up and you pass by this vision board, you have an opportunity to remind yourself what you're working for. You have an opportunity to remind the universe that this is what you're out here seeking, so that those opportunities come available to you. It's part vision, it's part asking for it, stating it, it's part manifestation, but definitely it can only come to life through you and through your hands. So I might do a never too late vision board party, because even though we're in the first quarter of the year, wrapping up the first quarter of the year, it's still never too late to get started on moving toward your new or next level. So a vision board is a great way to get that vision off of paper and into an image. I use visualization techniques with my clients, because sometimes when you want something so bad, it still feels like a dream until you can see it in your mind's eye. And so when you can see it in your mind's eye, you're that much more close to bringing it into reality. So it's that mental creation and then that physical creation that will help you get to where you want to go faster. And if you are building a happy life, then your vision helps you to say, these are the things that makes me happy. These are the things that I want more of and more abundantly in my next 3 years. And on your way to that 3-year vision, you're going to see those things increasing. And then when you get there, you'll be like, man, look how far I came. So in the waiting or on the way, there's something that you need to be doing on a day-to-day basis that's going to assist you in claiming your dreams. And this is habits. You have to identify, modify, or create habits that are going to support the goals that you choose, that you are aligned with, that supports your values, etc. So good or bad, your habits can make or break you. So bad habits will tear you down. Good habits will help you keep moving forward. When you understand the difference between those habits, and then you start to make modifications, you will be able to create the life that you want. And this slide says, mastering your habits will change your life. So 3 rules to impact your habits is the fact that habits are basically your brain's way of doing less work. So your brain says, okay, these are the things that we do. This is the routine, but I also need a trigger or a cue. So what is the cue that tells me that this is the thing that I need to do? And then once we get this thing done, what is then the reward that happens out of it? So because there is so much going on, but there's also a level of consistency in your day, your brain says, oh, I know what this is. And so it can do it with less energy, less effort, and less attention. So Q, what is that thing that starts the automation process? Routine, what is the thing that the brain needs to do without too much effort or energy? And then reward, what is the thing that ends that cycle? And so once you understand where your cues are, and then what routine follows, what reward you have also implemented, whether knowingly or not knowingly, you can start to change 1 or 2 or 3 pieces of that pattern so that you can create and form new habits. So let's say a cue could be, it's 5 o'clock. Not really, but it's 5 o'clock. It's time for you to get off. So your brain realizes we've checked the clock. It's 5 o'clock. Time to go. We get our stuff. We move. We go to our vehicle. That drive home, if you don't have anything else to do, is really on autopilot 99% of the time. You know, I get in my car, I take this path, and then I get to my house, which means I get to take off my shoes. I get to take off my shirt or my coat, and now I'm comfortable. I get to put on my jogging pants or my basketball shorts and huge t-shirt, and that is my reward. Comfort. I'm out of my constrictions and my refines, and I can just relax and be. So you have other cues. There are people that I know exactly what time of day it is by the where they're going. I know 3 o'clock coffee time. I know 2:30 popcorn time. I know 4 o'clock who's leaving at 4 o'clock because they've been there earlier in the day. And it's just like there are habits or patterns that are all around us, and that's our body and our mind's way of just kind of getting through the creating some stability, but also getting through the day. So once you understand what the cue, routine, reward is, then you may say, okay, how do I change this? Maybe you're trying to lose weight, and one of the things that you might be doing is you might have a little mommy juice or daddy juice in the form of an adult beverage on Friday nights. Maybe once the kids are in bed at 8:30, it's time for me to have a glass of wine. And that's what I do. So my cue would be, the kids are asleep, right? Now, I'm going to have a glass of wine, which depending on what you drink has a certain level of calories. It's potentially 8:30 at night. If you've created a food and beverage, the word just slipped out of my brain, curfew, then at 8:30, half bottle, half glass, whatever the case may be, of wine would automatically be restricted, right? But if you don't have a curfew and you say, oh, this is my indulgence, I'm going to drink a bottle of wine with my partner tonight, and then you end up going to sleep or falling asleep an hour or so later, you haven't done anything to work out those calories. So maybe your cue, routine, reward loop, in order to assist you and to installing a food curfew or not eating or drinking those things after a certain time, is that 8:30, that cue, kids are asleep, what is the next routine? And maybe that next routine has a different reward. So the cue may stay the same, but you have to change a part of that 3-chain link in order to form a new habit. So maybe instead of having a glass of wine, maybe you are, going to ride your stationary bike for 30 minutes so that you can still accomplish the reward of a deeper night's sleep. So remember that cue, routine, reward loop. Understand that in order to change your habit, you have to change a piece of that so that you can start to identify a new loop. Number 2, you can't think your way out of a new habit. You must take action. So in this, habit isn't about, oh yeah, I should. Habit is about I did, or I am, I did, I am, I did, consistently. So you can't just think your way, oh, next week I'm not going to have that glass of wine. Oh, I'll stop. Oh, I won't buy another bottle. Oh, whatever the case may be. You need to actually do. So maybe you set a reminder, 8:30, kids are in bed, fantastic. It's time for me to get on the bike, and the alarm rings and says, bike time for your exercise. You have to do it. You have to start it, and you have to be consistent with that. So that leads me to number 3, and I've kind of been talking through this in the same manner, but to end a bad habit, you must replace it with a new routine. If it's something that's not, again, properly aligned with your goals, if it's not aligned with your vision, if it's not aligned with your values, you do not want to do it. There was a quote in the book that says and that's in the time management section. But I wanted to say that your habits, those actions that create your habits, should always be something that's supporting your vision. You don't want habits that are going to be detracting. Habits like procrastination detract from your ability to move forward anyway. So maybe it's not 2 hours of TikTok. Maybe I have my TikTok 25-minute timer, and when my 25 minutes is up, I put it up and I can go spend that other 35 minutes, other 35 minutes on the computer doing some research or something that's productive for my vision, my goals, my work, my job, my class, whatever the case that you have going on. So you have to do something differently, intentionally taking an action so that you can start to shift your patterns, shift your habits, and start creating new ones. And so you can't just think about it and maybe do it once. You have to think about it and do it consistently. Consistency is the key for your habits. Sounds like I need to do a reel on that one. All right. So, just think about what habits you have, what habits you know you need to change, and then think through the process. Like, what's making me do it? What's my cue? What am I doing? Who is around while I'm doing it? And it might be, let me tell you a really funny thing. I'm typically a pretty clean, language person. I don't really use a lot of profanity. I choose not to because I feel like you can use other words and language that is more expressive and impactful than a profane word. But I remember I was probably 27 or 28. And I started noticing when I was using profane language. And I was like, man, I really don't say stuff like this until I get around XYZ person. And it's because even though we were different people, it was kind of like an opposites attract relationship. And so she was a lot more freer, a lot more, out there. I'm more reserved. I like stability. I like routine. And she was freer with her language, how she expressed herself, just 100% go. And then I was like, I say a lot more curse words when I hang out with her. I wonder why I curse more with her than I do in everywhere else. And I was like, well, maybe that's just me feeling free. But is that consistent? It wasn't consistent with what I value. And so therefore, I had to make a mental note that when I hang out with X, watch your tongue, mind your language, repeat the language, and maybe instead of being influenced by that environment, I can start to influence the environment and therefore change some of her habits as well. I mean, we can clearly be two different people with two different sets of habits. And still be friends. So that wasn't an issue, but I noticed it. So I noticed that my cue was this particular person, that my routine was saying more curse words, and it was like consistently. I can talk to my mom, my sister, etc. Not a curse word, not a thought of a curse word. However, as soon as I got with her, everything was just like, it was just flying all over the place. And the reward was, she would be laughing and kiki, and I just felt like, extra free in that moment. It can be that simple. It doesn't have to be, what is my habit, when it comes to work or my professional life. You have habits in your routine. You have habits with your friends. You have habits with your kids. You have personal habits. You have personal hygiene habits, personal health and wellness habits. We create these things, like I said, because the brain says, all right, how can I automate this process? This is something that we do every day. There is a routine. I'm sure if you think about it, you have a cleanliness routine. There's some people that they get in the shower and they follow the same exact order of how they clean and wash themselves, whether they're brushing their teeth before the shower or after the shower. If it's brush, floss, rinse, or if it's floss, rinse, brush. Those are the things that just says, okay, it's our time to do this. So your brain wants to create habits that it can put itself on autopilot so that when the new and novel things come about, when new challenges and XYZ arrive, when new opportunities arrive, and then it wakes up and it sparks and it gets all excited because, oh my gosh. And that's partly why I think that variety is the spice of life, because we are rolling through these habits day in and day out. Get up, get dressed, go to work, come home, cook dinner, do the homework, put the kids to bed, have an hour of free time, go to sleep, get up, go to work, blah, 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 blah. That when you're like, there's an event, there's something that I can do that's different, you get super excited about it. But we all have them. So just because I use an example of increased profanity, that was a habit for me. And then when I became aware of it, I had to make a mental decision to do something differently. It might be that for you. It might be that I only eat dessert when I go out with Karen. Well, Karen likes dessert, and Karen's dessert always looks good. So maybe I just don't eat the salad so that I can save room for dessert when I'm with Karen. Well, the next time you go out with Karen, order the salad or order the soup and then eat your food and then don't order dessert. Save that 300, 400, 10,000 calorie dessert if you have a weight goal. If being in shape is a part of your vision. If your health, being a healthier, leaner version of yourself in your 3 to 5 years is a part of your goal, you're going to have to examine that loop and start to make some changes. All right, so let's move on to our next topic, which is time management. And time management is something that I try to be very mindful of because I am a woman that has my hands in a lot. And sometimes I neglect pots of things. But other times it's all about how to manage my schedule so that I can be most effective for my clients, for my family, for my husband, for myself. So I won't be stressed out, which would then have an impact. Now, we all know that stress can have negative impact on your life, on your health, whether it's how you're sleeping, the tension or anxiety that you're carrying. If you're able to just interact with someone easily, your mental, emotional, and physical well-being is impacted by high stress levels. And one of the ways that you can decrease your stress level is by managing your time. The quote on the screen says, "Time is the most valuable resource in achieving a grade A life." Now, grade A life, again, isn't one where you're stressed out, falling over, can't take it, too tired, constant fatigue, ornery because folks are asking you questions, needing to vent 24/7. A grade A life is a space where you are thriving, that you are doing the things that you want to do, how you want to do them, when you want to do them, with ease, grace, style, and hopefully some sophistication in there. So all of these things that we've been talking about and shine bright are things that's going to help when you put them all together and mash them all together. These are going to be the things that help you live a grade A life. So, time management, you have to figure it out. Everyone is going to manage their time differently, but there are 3 strategies to master time, and hopefully these things will also be aligned with all of the other topics that we've covered in the Shine Bright series. So the first one says, focus on your highest value activities that are essential to you achieving your goals. So if you've identified your goals earlier in the series, those goals should have been aligned with your values, and that should also be aligned with your vision. On a day-to-day basis, you want to figure out, where are my highest value activities? Those are the things that are going to make the biggest impact, the things that are going to push you forward, the things that are going to alleviate some of the stress that you have, because once you get the big things out of the way, then the smaller things seem to be a lot easier. There is one tip in here that says, do your most hardest chores, your most hard task or chores in the morning when your brain is attuned and ready to go. So you're going to have more naturally, your brain is revved up and ready to go when you're waking, because you have fresh, clean slate. So if you know you need to remodel something, you might want to start on that in the morning when your brain has attention and energy, because as you go down through the day, as some of that stuff gets spent doing other things, now you're going to have less true focus, which is going to impact your ability to be able to do things adequately, accurately, effectively, and more efficiently. So your highest value activities, when I look at those, I always think about, where are the people that are being impacted? So for me, it's my clients and my employees are going to be my highest value activities. On some days, it's like, family first. Some days it's clients first. Some days it's employees first. But where is my most significant impact on that allows me to be the mom that I want to be, the wife that I want to be, the boss that I want to be, the coach that I want to be, because those are the things that I need to focus on first. These are the big boulders that I cannot let slip through. There are some things that are going to be pebbles. There are some things that are going to be sand. There's some things that are going to be rocks. There's some things that are going to be pretty big boulders. Identify those things, maybe even categorize them. Where is my highest priorities? These are my A topics. The things that are important but aren't necessarily urgent might be my B things. The things that can wait, don't necessarily need attention or brain power right now, that might be on my C list. And then things that I can get rid of, delegate, or just potentially ignore, which there are some of those in your life that might be on your D list. So highest priority, important, can wait, delegate. Your A, B, C list. Make those and spend your time on your A's. And then when you finish with your A's, move on to your B's. All right. Number 2, limit your multitasking. And I think on the Miss J channel, I've talked about single tasking before. Multitasking truly is a myth. You cannot do multiple things effectively at the exact same time. There's no way that I can really type, work on something, create something that's coming out of my brain, listen to a conversation, and be actively engaged. The only things I may potentially be able to do is type and create. Type / create and chew bubblegum. But I can't even type / create and listen to TV, yet alone be engaged or have a conversation. So we want to make sure that we are trying to limit those to things that don't require 100% of your time and attention. So what I can do is I can cook and talk and have a conversation. So frequently I do that. The other times that I can call back my clients or return telephone calls while I'm driving, partially because my brain is on autopilot on the drive, so I can devote more of that attention to the conversation. If I'm going somewhere that I've already been, right? If I'm going somewhere new, I can't think about, listen to the GPS, read the road signs, do all of that and have a conversation. I need to be focused on one thing. So you want to limit your multitasking. You want to single task, especially on your A-list things, so that you can be giving 100% of your focus and attention. Therefore, you can make less mistakes and get things done a lot faster. And then your number 3 strategy for mastering time is to end your day with a review, celebration, and preparation. So you're going to take a look back at your A-B list. You're going to say, okay, what are the things that were accomplished? Check. Fantastic. We're going to celebrate a little bit. Ooh, 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 ooh. We're not going to have a glass of wine. We're going to go in here and eat some grapes instead. And we're going to be like, yes, I feel really accomplished today. These are the things that I was able to do and the impact I was able to have. Might not be impact externally. It might be impact internally. It might be impact towards your 3-year goal. So you want to just say, oh, without that step, where would I be? Because sometimes we get stuck because we didn't take the first step. So celebrate your small wins, because those small wins are like the inside of that thing that turns into an avalanche. It might have started off as a pebble, but with momentum and consistency, it grew into something much bigger. So you want to look back at what you've accomplished through the day. You want to celebrate the things that you were able to accomplish, and then you want to prepare for your tomorrow so that your brain automatically knows, okay, we're going to wake up. These are the things that we're going to get accomplished for today. And you can spend that highest functioning brain time on the things that you've already prepared for. So it may be rewriting your list. One of the things that I give to my clients is I use a 15, 10, 30 rule with them. And it basically goes 15 minutes at the beginning of your day, where you're going to make sure that your calendar aligned, review your to-do list, look at your calendar, make sure that the time is blocked and you've allocated the time that you needed. At the end of your day, you're going to take 10 minutes and you're going to see what you were able to accomplish, what your new tasks and to-dos are, and then you want to incorporate those into your following day. Now, this could be your work day. So let's say 7:50, you're going to spend 15 minutes looking at your day. At 4:50, you're going to spend 10 minutes looking at what are the new things that popped up, and then recategorizing. Where's my A's, B's, C, D's now? And then take some time to either delegate, The things that can be delegated, send the quick email, etc., so that you can close out that day. At the end of your week, you want to take at least 30 minutes to plan out what needs to happen. So on Fridays, you don't want to lose all of that momentum and the things that you've been able to achieve. You want to take that 30 minutes on Friday and jot down everything that's going to be important for you next week, so that when you come in, you open up your notebook and bam, you're right back there. You don't have to think about it. What was I supposed to be doing? Oh my gosh, I know I was supposed to get something to Kelly, and now I don't remember what it is. So now I have to spend 15 minutes searching through emails trying to figure out what I was supposed to give Kelly, when I could have been using those 15 minutes to actually turn over the thing that I needed to accomplish. So try to incorporate that 15, 10, 30. That will allow you to start to focus your time, to block off your time so that you can single task. And then make sure you're scheduling some do not disturb time. There's a whole lot of other tips that I try to help my clients be effective and efficient in their day so that we can get to the goal attainment. Because for me, it is about celebrate. What are we trying to go? Where are we trying to go? How are we going to get there? So if you were to ever work with me, these 3 topics right here are the cornerstone, the foundation of where we start our work. Because how we spend our time and the things that we're doing consistently might be obstacles, or they might be helpful to us. And of course, we have to know where we're going. So vision, habits, time management, it's a powerhouse trio. If you can understand how to manage those 3 things, you're probably already down the fast track. You're doing yourself a fantastic, doing yourself justice, a fantastic favor by being able to manage these 3 things. I left them for last because I feel like they are the most tangible things that you can do. But all of these tips that we've covered over the last now 5 weeks, I think are just outstanding. And I hope that you have found them that way too. So thank you so much for joining me for this series. I hope that it has been something that has been beneficial to you. Feel free to go back and replay those, take notes. If you have questions, feel free to go ahead and shoot me an email. My contact information for Ms. J is on the screen that's ending. If you're interested in coaching consultation, that is absolutely free. We can get on the telephone and talk about what you're trying to do in your life and what your timing looks like, because that also does matter, as I try to work you in with some other clients that I have on the books. And then we just talk through what you're looking for. A lot of what I do is based on if we are a match. There are some things that I'm going to be able to help you with, no problem. There are some things that are outside of my wheelhouse and I don't have an issue with referring. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I promise you I won't bite. The first initial contact is free, so no investment except for the investment that you're going to put in yourself by devoting the time to at least have the conversation. And that, my friend, is an investment in you. So hopefully I will be able to talk to you soon. Feel free to leave a question, comment, or you know what? Maybe you just want to say hey. Feel free to drop onto my social medias, I am Ms. J, and say hello. I look forward to seeing you soon, and I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. Have a good one. Bye.